I'd like to go across to France 24's Benedict Pavio standing by in London. Benedict, good evening to you. 211 votes in favour of Boris Johnson tonight, 148 against. How will the Prime Minister view these numbers?
Well, we'll have to see. For the moment, all we have had is Sir Graham Brady, the head of the 1922 Backbench Committee, making this announcement. So my verdict is Boris Johnson is down, but not out. He has survived a vote of confidence among Tory MPs. He's headed off what is the most serious threat to his leadership so far. And what this actually means for the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson tonight is that he is officially, according to the existing rules, immune from another leadership challenge for 12 months. That is under the current Conservative Party rules. But I think we're going to continue to have a drip, drip, drip effect. This is, make no mistake, an extremely serious rebellion. And it was interesting to read out early on France 24. I had the exact wording of his appeal to the Conservative MPs that he met at 4 p.m. local time behind closed doors, where he was saying, vote for me, this is a distraction, this is media-led. I can tell you, as somebody who's on the ground, who speaks to all kinds of people, obviously not just members of Parliament, whether from the governing party, the Conservatives, or the opposition, but to normal people, and standing by a COVID wall here opposite Parliament, where people have written the names and the dates of the loved ones that they have lost throughout the pandemic. A woman from the northeast, for example, Laura, told me she doesn't like liars. And I think that this is going to be a death by 1,000 cuts. This is very serious, and I think it very much is a question, as I said earlier on France 24, a question of not if, but when. There are two crucial by-elections in the next few weeks, and it had been thought that since we hadn't had this confidence vote earlier in the year, after the beginning of the Partygate revelations, that MPs would wait to trigger this after the by-elections, because according to polling, if that is correct, the Conservative Party stands to lose those two by-elections. They didn't. They went today. Once he had been told by Sir Graham Brady yesterday that the letters, sufficient letters, 15%, 54, had been written, a minimum of 54, the Prime Minister said, I want this done as soon as possible. The Prime Minister believes this is media-led. I can tell you it is not media-led. Many, many people are very angry. But yes, many people still support him. So we'll see how this divided country, this divided party, watch out for cabinet resignations. A parliamentary private secretary of the Foreign Secretary has just resigned. Could we get more resignations? It's not certain. We will see. I expect a statement later on, possibly in the next half an hour, from the Prime Minister, I would think, from the safety of Downing Street, where he survives once again.
Survived once again tonight. Benedict, we have some reactions trickling in. We have the Education Secretary, Nadhim Zahawi, who says the Prime Minister won handsomely. Hope we can draw a line under this issue. This is something that somebody who's close to the Prime Minister, Jacob Rees-Mogg, reiterated earlier today on Sky News, where he said even if the Prime Minister wins by one vote, he is safe. Is Jacob Rees-Mogg living in a parallel universe here?
Well, some might accuse Jacob Rees-Mogg of doing so, because when Theresa May some years ago was faced with a confidence vote, although she won it, he thought that was not sufficient. So clearly Jacob Rees-Mogg has changed his mind. One is allowed to change one's mind. And I heard somebody else also on Sky News referring to Jacob Rees-Mogg that he was good for entertainment. What it is clear is that he is still very much officially backing the Prime Minister. It would be so interesting to know, since it was a secret ballot, who, for example, in the cabinet voted against their boss. Now, Nadhim Zahawi is interesting also, because he's officially publicly supporting his boss, Boris Johnson. He is one of the names, amongst others, like the Foreign Secretaries, Liz Truss, who are tipped to possibly replace when there is a vacancy, and it's clearly not officially tonight. But let's remember, Margaret Thatcher, she won a confidence vote and a few days later quit because she asked within the party, she discovered the vote, it has to be said, in Paris, and she came back to London, spoke to trusted, very senior people in the party, and knew the writing was on the wall. We all remember those scenes here of her almost crying as she got into the ministerial car. Theresa May survived a vote and limped on for 6 to 7 months. So there is a parliamentary committee who will start an inquiry shortly it's called the Privileges Committee, and it will look at whether it believes that Boris Johnson misled Parliament, basically lied to Parliament. And one has to ask the question tonight about when you get a fixed penalty and you are the first serving Prime Minister to do so, when your address Downing Street and the neighbouring ministries, Whitehall, get 126 fines, and when there is a party boozing culture, which of course many people who respected, the majority in the United Kingdom, respected the strict lockdown, how much trust that does inspire? Boris Johnson believes tonight that he can win a general election. Tonight he's got a majority, a narrow one, who believe that they trust him and they want him to lead the party. How will this rebellion continue? We'll see.